And welcome to the Bulloch Sports Report. I'm Josh Aubrey. Plenty to get to in this week's show. The Georgia Southern football team coming off a nice victory on the road at Nevada. This week, they take their 1-1 record back to Paulson Stadium as they'll be taking on South Carolina State University. They come in at 1-1 on the season, having lost to Florida A&M and defeated the Citadel last week. We'll hear from head coach Clay Helton and a few of the Eagle players coming up in just a moment. As for our area high school football teams, the Statesboro Blue Devils looking to rebound from a loss, their region opener on the road at Greenbrier, as they'll be hosting Glenn Academy in a big region showdown at 7:30 Friday night at Walmart Field. We'll hear from head coach Matt Dobson and some players as well. The Bulloch Academy Gators looking to move to 5-0 on the season. A big game coming up on the road in Milledgeville as they'll be taking on John Millage Academy at 7:30 Friday night. We'll hear from head coach Aaron Phillips and a couple of his players in just a bit. As for the Southeast Bulloch Yellow Jackets, they lost their first game of the season last week on the road in Savannah to Calvary Day, top 10 ranked school in the GHSA. This week they'll be hoping to rebound at home. They'll be playing at Fred Shaver Field against Johnson. We'll hear from Southeast Bulloch head coach Jared Zito and a couple of his players. Also, the Portal Panthers will be in action Friday night. Portal hoping to rebound from their loss this past Friday as they lost to Jenkins County. This week they'll be on the road at Bryan County. We'll also have some softball action to bring you. All that and more coming up on the Bulloch Sports Report. And a reminder before we go to break, hopefully you'll never be in an accident, but if so, please give our friends at the Sullivan Law Firm a call, 912-489-8888, or online at thesullivanlawfirm.com. Well, the Georgia Southern Eagles looked a lot better, especially on the defensive side of the ball this past week. In their season opener, they gave up 55 points to Boise State. This last week, they gave up touchdowns on the first two drives and then held Nevada to only a field goal the rest of the way. On offense, J.C. French looked good again. He was able to complete over 250 yards worth of passing, but the Eagle offense struggled a bit on the run game. One of those reasons was preseason All-Sun Belt running back Jalen White with a little bit of an ankle injury. We had a chance to talk with Georgia Southern head coach Clay Helton about the improvement of the defense and what's been going on with the Eagle running attack.
I really wanted to see improvement in our football team going from game one to game two. That was a challenge for our coaching staff and our players early in the week is being able to improve, in each phase. And you saw that. You saw the critical errors, the gap assignment go way down, cut in half in this past game. Still got to continue that. You saw third down go down a little bit. Needs to go down even further. We acquired the turnover that was needed. So there were steps, not to where we need to be, to play championship football, but you want to see improvement each and every game, and you saw that in this game in a really tough environment, a really long way to go for a football game. I thought there was a mental and physical toughness about our team that showed up on Saturday. I thought there were some advantage opportunities that we could have had in the RPO game where we could have got the ball out on the perimeter when you getting loaded boxes and safety tight to the vest. Jalen's obviously played good football in the first game, scoring 3 touchdowns, had a little bit of an ankle this past week, really fought through that, this past week. Credit to him. Hopefully we'll get him even further healthy this week and be able to get him some more open space. But that is an area of growth for us, no doubt. Got a team that very similar to Nevada, leans on its defense. I think the defense is ultra athletic. They've played in really 2 really close contests. Once again, FAMU that really lost that game late in a heartbreaking fashion, and then get a big win over the Citadel. Offensively, they spread the ball around, used a little bit of no huddle, use every inch of grass, but they've leaned on their defense to put them in ball games, and so it's going to be important for us, I think, to continue our effectiveness, both run and pass, against a defense that really is ultra athletic and runs the lanes very well, plays good coverage on the outside. It'll be a good challenge for us. I'm looking forward to the opportunity. Not only are you fighting a good opponent against South Carolina State, but you're also fighting human nature, and you come off of really two physical games and you get a road win. You can't have a let up. You have to be able to continue to advance as a football team against a good South Carolina State opponent that's played in two really tough games of their own. And so it is a battle. It's a battle of being able to continue to progress against human nature of when you say, gosh, can I take a deep breath? No, you can't. You got to turn the page and you got to continue the mission. And so that's our goal this week, is to continue to improve as a football team.
Well, as for the Georgia Southern offense, again, they took maybe a small step backwards as far as production goes, but they didn't turn the ball over. We had a chance to talk with wide receiver Josh Dallas about how he feels the offense has continued to improve this season under offensive coordinator Ryan Applin.
Coach App has done such a great job. I think the thing that makes him so special is he's so good at using everybody to the best of their ability, And so whether that's speed, whether that's power, whether that's whatever that is he's going to use everybody to the best of their ability, and he's done such a good job of that even in the last two games. We're going to continue building on that. But I think it just makes it super dangerous when you have so many good players on the field. And I think something that's super important, I was just talking with some of my boys the other day, is we have zero ego, we have zero entitlement, we have zero selfishness. So it doesn't matter who scores, everybody's excited. I think when Jet scored his touchdown the other day, the whole sideline was doing his little Jet celebration. Everybody was having a blast. And again, that's super special, especially with nowadays in college football, is it's easy to have selfishness. It's easy to have ego and entitlement, but we just don't have that. We love celebrating for each other. We love when Dalen scores a touchdown, if Derwin scores a touchdown, if Jet scores a touchdown. Everybody's just as excited if it was them. So I think that's super special, and we're going to continue building on that. So.
Well, as for the defense, after those first two touchdowns in the game against Nevada, they really shut them down, made a big fourth down play late in the game, and also created a turnover, which was the first for Nevada this season. We had a chance to talk with defensive back Chance Gamble about how he feels the defense has been playing as they get set for South Carolina State coming up Saturday.
Being able to settle down into the game, get into the flow of it was super important for us. Every offense has a game plan for the first couple of drives, and they had us at first, but being able to just stop some of those big drives and getting them off the field on third down, that's what really helped us moving on in the game. But other than that, just being able to settle down into the game and get into the flow. Our standard of ball is, tough, disciplined, and united, keeping the ball in front, not letting it get behind us, tackling. That's what we really struggled on the first game of the year. So that was the big emphasis for us this week, was just being able to get the ball down when it got to the second and third level. And I felt like we did a better job at that. We cut some of our critical errors down in half that we had in the first game. When you do that, you tend to give up less points. So I think that if we can pull all those things together, that we're just going to continue to get better and better each week.
And the Eagles in South Carolina State kicking off at 6 o'clock at Paulson Stadium. That game can also be seen on ESPN+. All right, stay with us. High school action and high school interviews with their coaches and players coming up next.
This is Paul Newman with Statesboro Real Estate. Have you been on the sidelines? Well, now's the time to list your house. Let's GATA and get after those assets.
The Statesboro Blue Devils went on the road to Greenbrier this past week, a game that was tied 14-14 at halftime. Greenbrier goes on to blow them out in the second half. Statesboro hurting themselves with turnovers. 5 Blue Devil turnovers led to 5 Greenbrier touchdowns. We had a chance to talk with head coach Matt Dobson and a couple of his players about this last week and what the Blue Devils are doing to turn things around this week as they'll host Glenn Academy.
Yeah, it did. It came in a spurt really primarily in the second half. We had 4 turnovers. We had 1 in the first half, and the frustrating part for us is that it wasn't, sometimes people just hit you really hard and you fumble the football, or they make an incredible play and create turnovers. But these were just kind of self-inflicted. A lot of mesh fumbles between quarterback and running back, and then quarterback, center, type exchange stuff. And so really frustrating just because it's stuff that we control and stuff that we can be better at. And so definitely got to clean it up. You're not going to win football games in this region turning the football over 5 times and then leading to them scoring 5 times on those turnovers. So it's frustrating, but we think we can clean it up, and our guys have attacked this week and ready to get back on the field.
Tough region you play in, and you're probably playing your toughest opponent this Friday. You have Glen Academy coming in.
Yeah, they're a good football team. I think they're really athletic. I think they're probably more athletic than they have been the last couple of years. Just got, they're playing a really good athlete at quarterback. Started the year at defensive back, and they're playing 2 quarterbacks, but he's kind of getting more of the snaps, and so he's a runner. First, we got to stop the run. They got a couple big backs, and then they're going to use their receivers in some jet sweep type stuff and try to get the ball in space. They got a couple dynamic guys on the perimeter. And then defensively, they are a downhill. They're going to try to stop the run. And so we've got to establish the line of scrimmage. Once again, we've challenged our guys. We got to win the line of scrimmage offensively and defensively, stop the run, and then establish the run on offense. And then on the perimeter, we're going to have to win some one-on-one matchups. Have some receivers have to win matchups one-on-one, and then our DBs, when you stop the run, you got to put your DBs, on an island sometimes. And so we're going to have to win some of those matchups.
I think we need to be more physical, and we need to come together as a team. We're not a team right now, but everything's coming together. In practice, I feel like we need to just do more team things, because when we go down on offense and we running the ball and we getting stopped, we need push. We need more of a push. Defense, we just need to be more physical.
I feel like we did good, not backing out like we would do of last season, because if we was down like that last season, the score probably would have been worse than it was, instead of defense steady trying to get the ball back and things like that. But other than that, I feel like we did pretty good. I expect it to be a physical game from them at all aspects of the game, and I expect us to come to deliver what we need to deliver. Like our word this week is physicality. We got to be physical at all points of the ball.
The Bulloch County Farm Bureau on Northside Drive is a multi-line insurance agent writing farm, auto, homeowners, life, health insurance, and more. Nick Sherrod and the other 5 local agents are on standby for your convenience for in-depth insurance review. And while you're there, check out the products from local farmers. Located at 940 Northside Drive, stop by and see them today. For the Southeast Bulloch Yellow Jackets, head coach Jared Zito knew it was going to be a tough game last week on the road in Savannah, taking on Calvary Day. Big plays ended up killing the Yellow Jackets. Zito felt like they played pretty well aside from those big plays, and is looking to shore that up this week as they'll be hosting Johnson.
Disappointed we didn't give her a chance to get in the fight. Too many early mistakes that cost us, got us behind the 8 ball fast. Credit to Calvary, really good football team, but disappointed in our execution early on in the game that got us there. But from a positive standpoint, I can say I challenged our guys at halftime. We came out like a whole different team, played a whole lot better football, and I left there kind of feeling good about where we were mentally and emotionally, not feeling good about a loss and certainly a region loss, but I thought we finished it a lot better than we started.
You got a chance to put that behind you this week and get back to action against Johnson. What do you expect, and what are you looking for from your guys?
Well, first thing, we're going to spend a lot of time today correcting, worrying about us. And of course, we're going to start our plan versus Johnson, and we've met and done all those things that we normally do. But I think the bigger factors really for us is still about us. And then we'll move forward to Johnson. Have another home game, which is exciting, being back home again. And the worst part about losing, you got to eat it all week. And the only way to make yourself feel better is, 1, get out there and fix the issues, and then 2, hopefully try to go out and get a win.
I think that we learned that we always need to continue to focus on what we have ahead. It was a tough loss. It was a really tough thing to face, but I think that we're going to ultimately be a better team from this experience. I think that we're going to come out and really just show what we've learned from that. I think that they didn't beat us down, just they didn't wear us out, but we just made small mistakes that against a good team like that really just turns into a touchdown. That's where we really messed up against Calvary. We're going to work on correct leverages with tackling. We're going to work on keeping our team just all focused in and not losing our minds whenever things don't go our way, because obviously nothing's always going to go your way 100% of the time. So we're just going to work on leverages. We're going to work on being tough, more physical. And up front, we're just going to work on playing our gaps and just staying and playing how we're coached to play.
I feel like we learned that we can play and compete with anybody. Although, the scoreboard may not say it, if you go back and actually watch the film, we were competing, we were fighting. We wanted it real bad, but sometimes in the end, don't come out how you want it to.
So you get a chance to put that behind you. You got Johnson Friday. What are y'all expecting, and what are you hoping to do Friday?
We're the type team that we only focus on the team the week of when we play them. So, Calvary was a tough loss, but it's in our past. We're mad, we're angry, we're ready to come out, and we're trying to be dominant against Johnson this week.
The Bulloch Academy segment is brought to you in part thanks to Floors Outlet of Statesboro, located on Northside Drive. Come by and visit Mo for all your floor covering needs. Well, the Bulloch Academy Gators remain perfect on the season, 4-0, coming off a win last week against Robert Toombs Christian Academy. Everything going the Gators' way, but head coach Aaron Phillips knows the schedule gets tougher starting this week with John Millage. We had a chance to talk with him and a couple of his players about the upcoming matchup.
Obviously, we're going to celebrate the win, celebrate 4-0, and we're never satisfied. I think there's always room to improve. Up front, offensive line-wise, it's just about being consistent, all the time. Obviously, one of the things I feel great about is our backfield right now. Those starting three really run the ball hard. And you throw Sam in there too, who's a very talented runner. He can get loose and score points for you as well. And that's something that as talented as we've been, and how great Ben was. Sam can make house calls and outrun people a little bit. Offensively, we've played great for the most part. It's hard to play a high school football team and only give up 20 yards rushing. I mean, out of a whole game, where teams are running, 50 offensive plays and they can't gain but 20 yards on the ground. Anytime you can do that, it's good. Your defense is playing good. I mean, so I'm pretty happy about those things.
Schedule gets a little bit tougher. You've mentioned that. Starts up this Friday on the road in Milledgeville against the John Millage team that doesn't have the greatest record in the world, but the program. And sometimes when teams are struggling, that's when they can be dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, we have preached it all week long and all year. I mean, we yesterday my message to the team was, our opponents that we've played are 3-10 on the year. The opponents they played are 12-3. So don't be fooled by a record. You don't win 57 games in a row and 4 in a row state titles because you don't know what you're doing. They play a lot of good teams during those times, and those kids are going to be well coached. Those kids are going to be chomping at the bit because it's a home game for them. You got to go to their place and play, and they're going to feel comfortable. And we need to start taking every game as serious as we do the big games, and that's that complacency thing that you can't just turn it on and off. It's not a light switch. Every single week it needs to be a faceless, nameless opponent, and we play the same way.
I think we need to start working on executing a little bit better. Tackling, definitely, open field tackling. We need to get a little better at that and just blowing off the ball. But other than that, I mean, we don't play bad. We do good, but executing is probably one of the main things.
What do you feel like you guys are doing really well right now?
I think we're doing well with blocking out wide. Our receivers are blocking really good. One of the main parts, how we move the ball, getting out wide with our A-backs. Receivers are doing real well. QB's doing really good, receiving the snap, knowing what to do, leading the offense. Our defense is playing really well. I think we've only let up 5 touchdowns in the past 4 games. I don't know, but our defense is playing really well, and that's what's going to win us a lot of games.
I feel really good about our defensive line and our front 7, and we could probably get a little bit better in our offensive line, like really memorizing all of the stuff and getting the correct blocks and splits and all that. And then our quarterback sometimes on the reads and the pitch keys and all that. I know there's going to be a really good team. Just like Coach Phillips has been telling us, you don't win 62 games in a row without having really good coaching. And, I mean, we can't go in there and just be lazy, lackluster about it. We got to go in there prepared just like it's the state championship against anybody.
That'll wrap things up for now. We thank you for joining us. Hope to see you again next week.